If you ever wanted to see me get excited, well, today is the day because I got big news. There's breaking news in the world of home theater, and I'm absolutely just going nuts. I mean, this is cool, right? All right. So Kaleidescape is releasing the Strato V movie player, and this thing is changing the game for home theater and the accessibility for this technology for the mass market. Well, maybe not the mass market, but a masser market than what it's been available to before. And we're going to talk about it all today. So this is just dropped. This is brand new. It's the cutting edge news, right? And we're going to hear it right here, right now. And I'm going to go over all of the different press releases and spec sheets that have dropped this morning as of, I think it's 6 a.m. Pacific time, so 7 my time, Mountain time. So you're hearing it here as soon as it is available for release. But there are really three big take homes for the Kaleidescape Strato V player, right? Okay, number one, the price point is $39.95. Okay, $4,000. Now you might be saying, well, that's really expensive. Well, it's not cheap, but man, it's not $22,000 or some other, significantly large car kind of money, right? For an enthusiast that's going to spend $20,000 on a projector or $8,000 on a TV, getting the best source out there for 4 grand, well, that is now within reach. Okay, that's number one. Okay, number two, this is a player and a server. That means that you don't need more stuff. This is it. This is all you need. You buy this and you're in the Kaleidescape ecosystem. And the third big piece is the technology advancements, right? So this unit is going to give you access to Dolby Vision, whereas this was not available before. And that's a big deal because if you want to use this with TVs, one of the big major points of pushback, outside of price, which has always been the number one pushback, but has been largely addressed, not wholly addressed, but largely addressed with this release, is Dolby Vision, right? You have a TV, it does Dolby Vision. You want that HDR, right? You want to see the movies in the best way possible. Well, now you can, right? So this does it. There's a bunch of other technology things that we're going to talk about, but those three things, I mean, it's got me hooked. I mean, I'm ready for it. I've got a Strato S, and it doesn't do Dolby Vision, right? Now it's the older, all integrated, and it was a lot more money than $4,000 or $39.95. And maybe dealers will do you even lower prices. Who knows? But okay, let's go ahead. And I think as a first stop, let's just get into the spec sheet and we're going to talk through that thing. All right, let's start out with Strato V movie player, 4K Ultra HD, HDR, Dolby Vision, lossless audio, standalone and scalable with ultimate performance. All right, that's a lot to take in, and it's a nice black case. This is a departure, I guess, from the silver cases of the past. I think both are fine, but this does have a nice sleek look to it. Notice that this is the half height size, or really the half width size. So back in the day, they used to be taller and full width. Now you can get two in a single U in your rack if you need two of these. Maybe if you're going to have two different zones and you put them all in one spot, that would be great space savings. But that's not the exciting stuff. The exciting stuff is everything else. And we're going to go through the at a glance. So the Strato V works on its own as a player or in a larger Kaleidescape system. Now, this is important, right? So if you don't have any Kaleidescape and you buy this thing, you're good to go, right? It only holds 10 movies. We'll talk about that in a minute. But you know what? That's all you really need, right? Because you can just download things as you want. You get something new, you download it, delete an old one. If you want the old one, you go back and get it and bring it back, right? Not a big deal. I do that with mine. I've got 6 terabytes in my unit. And I don't rewatch movies a lot. I have a handful of demo movies that I use all the time. And for reviewers out there, this is going to be great too, right? Because if you haven't gotten into the ecosystem and you want the best to do your reviews, here you go. Get your demo content put on here, and then just rotate in new movies as you want to watch them, right? It's got you covered. Now you can add this in to a full-blown system. So if you've already got Kaleidescape and you just want a player in another room, add it in. And guess what? You get another terabyte of storage, right? That's awesome. You can store 10 more 4K movies. Why not? It's all good. There is no downside to this. So lossless multi-channel audio that gives you Dolby Atmos, Dolby True HD, DTSX. Okay, DTS HD Master Audio, table stakes, right? Nothing special there. It's got to do it or it's worthless. Playback delivers true 4K Ultra HD with bit rates up to 100 megabits per second and frame rates of up to 60 frames per second. That's pretty cool, right? So it's as good as it gets out there for anything in a home theater, right? There isn't anything better. Now, if you think about DCI theaters and stuff like that, well, maybe, but this is for us in the home. This is the tops. 60 frames per second is nice. I would like to have 120 or 240 one day, because there are those films that come out at the super high frame rates, right? Remember the Will Smith movie? It was really cool. Some people love it, some people hate it. I would like to be able to reproduce it accurately. Not yet, but 60 frames per second is nice. We've got 4K movies in HDR 10 and Dolby Vision. Now, I don't know why we don't have HDR 10 plus. So that's a question. And on my live stream later tonight, so subscribe if you haven't, so that you can see that too. And if you're watching this later, you can go back and find it. I'm going to have the CEO from Kaleidescape on talking about this player. We're going to go through all these questions. So if you have a question and I don't answer it here, make sure you jump on for that, because we will get it answered. The man with the plan will be there and be able to answer it. But hey, man, look at this Dolby Vision. That's the bee's knees right there. My television is calling its name. It's got good upscaling. Works with all the popular control systems. Small form factor, two players fit in a 1U rack unit, and it's got the custom rack mount stuff. Okay, those things aren't new, but they are nice to have. Now, so let's go through the rest of this stuff. It can download a 4K movie in 10 minutes over gigabit Ethernet. So I assume that means it's got a 1 gig port. We're going to get down to the technical specs below. So maybe not a 2.5 gig port. Definitely not 10 gig, I guess. Downloads become a candidate for automatic deletion 48 hours after playback, making room for more movies. I assume this would be something that you could turn off if you want to, but for those that want to swap through movies, why not? That's okay. You know, Today with Kaleidescape, you can always go in and delete movies at any time, so you can manage that stuff. Now, this will have a different interface, and we're going to talk about that in a bit as well. So there's going to be something different there. Now, we're called out a solid state drive here. I don't know if that means a NVMe or a SSD, but I think it's an NVMe, and I have a reason to believe that, which I'll show you in a short video here in just a minute. Okay, so you can add storage by grouping it with Terra Prime movie servers, and it should group with any of the other stuff too, Strato S or all those as well. And I plan to test that when I get my hands on one of these, because I have a Strato S that I use on the daily. So another thing this has is player side lossless decoding for high bitrate audio codecs. So if you look down here, you can see that we've got a coax and a optical out. So for you 2-channel folks, this is something interesting, right? It'll actually decode this stuff, and then you can spit it out into older equipment that might not be able to handle it. I'm going to ask the CEO what the use case they had envisioned for this is tonight, because I don't have a use case for it, because I just use HDMI out, right, for everything. And that's how I roll in my theater. But there must be a really good use case for this somehow out there that I'm just not aware of. So this is housed in a modern black anodized aluminum and glass chassis. It does look really nice, no doubt about that. And then it does all the multi-channel stuff that we expect and require. Okay, now we can see the back of the unit. We've got our network, one HDMI out, the two digital audio outs, USB, and this is, it says it's reserved. I'm hoping that you can use this for disc to digital. I don't know. And that's going to be a question that I asked tonight. Can you plug in an external drive like on other Strato S players and the C and import movies? It's got an IR in. It has power, and then what looks like another USB for service. Then you got this screw here, which is for grounding. And, my unit does get the ground loop stuff going on, so I had to put a cheater plug on there to get rid of that. So hopefully that will help folks that get into that situation. I don't know if it's common or not, but it does happen. Now, let's go through all of these specs here. Dimensions, weight, whatever, power, whatever. Gigabit Ethernet, so it is not a super fast next gen. It's not even next gen anymore, but it's not a 10 gig. It's a 1 gig Ethernet connection. You've got the USB 3 that we talked about and the chassis grounds. It comes with the Kaleidescape remote, and I believe this is the new style remote. And if you didn't see it, I have a video of that up from last year at CEDIA when those dropped. You got a front panel IR receiver, IR in the back, all the control stuff, Lutron RA3. So this is all standard from the old Strato S and the C and all the other pieces. Environmental, fan noise, ventilation, rack mounting, all your certs, HDMI 2.1 and HDCP 2.3. That's good. Shows all your resolutions, your colors, and all that stuff. And then HDR Dolby Vision, HDR10, but no HDR10 plus. Then all of your formats here. And then you've got coaxial and Toslink for PCM 2 channel up to 9624. Now, storage, this is important, right? So 960 gigabyte SSD, and I think this is an NVMe, and I'll show you that in a bit. And then when it's grouped, it can use its storage in a pool with all of the other devices that you have. And then the media, you are in the Kaleidescape store at this point, so you're buying your movies from Kaleidescape. So that's the specs. I mean, this thing is compelling, and what it doesn't say here is the price, MSRP of $39.95, right? So that's a big change. Go look at the prices for everything else. If you wanted to get into a system before, it costs some money. Now, this unit will come with a different interface than standard Kaleidescape. Now, when you join this to a larger Kaleidescape system, that interface will change to the standard interface. But as it is, when you buy it as a standalone, it will have this interface. So this is all I've got for the interface, right? I just have a single screen cap. Shows new, paused, and played movies. Now, this will only hold about 10 4K movies. So I think they said, well, we're just going to make this easy because there's not going to be a whole bunch of stuff. You don't need to do all the sorting and that kind of thing if you've only got 10 movies in the system, right? So here you go. It can show what you haven't watched, what you've been watching, and then what you watched in the past. Remember, if you attach this to a larger ecosystem, then you get the full-blown Kaleidescape UI, and there's a bunch of videos out there about that. But this is something new, and I'm looking forward to experiencing this myself to see what this is like. Now I'm going to play a promotional video that they have for the unit, and we'll pause it and talk about this as we go along, and I'll have some comments. All right, so in this video, it doesn't look like the black anodized shell. So maybe this was an earlier mock-up, but the ports on the back all look correct, including the ground. All right, now this I think is important, right? So this thing pops open, and you can see there's a front panel with the graphics board. There's a fan, there's the logic processor, but right here, this thing that's green, I'm thinking that's an NVMe card, right? So there's nothing in here that looks like an old school SSD 2.5-inch drive. So I'm guessing this is NVMe storage. Works standalone, right? We've talked about that. Or you can add it to a big Horkin storage server, which would be awesome. Lossless audio, full reference video. And they say it's the only digital movie provider with those things. And I think the reason they can say that is, they're getting a little bit more quality on the video source with the mezzanine files that they use to create their content with. But as I've said before, when you compare this to 4K disc, it's about the same, right? I can't really tell any difference in my system. But I'm 100% in for Kaleidescape every day. It makes everything so easy to deal with. And that's it. All right. So that's the new Strato V player, right? This thing is super cool. And I think it really opens this technology up to a much broader audience. The number one, pain point for people wanting to purchase the system to get into the ecosystem, and what you always hear is that it costs too much. And now we're going to be at a point where it's expensive, but People are spending a lot more money on other components of their system, right? They're spending more on the processor, spending more on the speakers, they're spending more on the XYZ, right? So now, if you find this thing on sale for 3,500 or 29.99 or whatever it comes out to be, I think it's a compelling purchase because this is for me, fundamental piece of my home theater. It's a very, very, very important piece. And now you can even use it with your TV players. I'm excited. I can keep my Strato in my theater, and I can buy a V and put it in the living room, and I can watch all my movies, and I can have my Dolby Vision. Yeah, it's cool. All right. So, like I said, if this has left you with questions, please log on tonight for the live stream where you can ask any question that you want about this stuff. And we'll have the CEO of the company live with me to answer those questions. So we'll go over all of this stuff again and hopefully get you all the information that you need to make the decision as to whether this is the right piece of equipment for you and your environment. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all those things, and I'll see you in the next video.